Hello statistics students. In this video we're going to talk about how to use IQR to determine if what is the criteria of a data value being an outliers, and also use a graph called modified box plot to determine an outlier without calculation. So we talk about how to determine a data value is an outlier. So the criteria, it would be, it must be, if it's an outlier, it would be greater than Q3 plus 1.5 times of IQR. What is IQR? It's the middle 50% Q3 minus Q1. Okay, and so it's greater than that, or has to be less than Q1 minus 1.5 times of IQR. So basically, if you visualize it, so these are the data sets, and this is the middle part. So if you are in outliers, then you would think of having these being the middle 50%. Of course, they are never an outliers, and then you extend 1.5 times of that from Q3, like that, 1.5 times that long, and 1.5 times that long. So these are the data that are not outlier, but outside of this, they are outliers. So we said earlier that we would do an example. So we have 15 data. These are the exercise time of 15 students. We want to see 300 is an outlier, 120 is an outlier, 300 maybe, but we're not 100% sure. So we find the 5-number summary. So the 5-number summary is minimum is 0, maximum is 0, 20, 40, 60, and 300, right? So this is Q1 and this is Q3. So IQR obviously would be Q60 minus 20 is 40. So we call them the lower fans. We say, like, after this fans, then you're an outlier. It's Q1 minus 1.5 times IQR. So it'll be 20 minus 1.5 times 40. Remember, multiply this first. If you use a scientific calculator, you enter this, it would be negative 40. Okay, it's 20 minus 1.5 of 40 is negative 40. So we don't have anything that's negative, so none of these are the low outliers. Upper fans would be Q3 plus 1.5 times of IQR would be 60 plus 60. 1.5 times 40 is actually 60. So 120. If you are greater than, has to be strictly greater than 120, then is an outlier. So exactly 120 is not treated as an outlier. So this is the upper fans. So 120 is still in the upper fans, so it is not an outlier. But 300, see, this is greater than that, so it is an outlier. So we don't have to depend on histograms, class width, to determine if there's an outlier, but use this criteria. Okay. So everybody okay with how to calculate? So first you get your set of data, calculate IQR, calculate actually get the 5-number summary so that you get IQR. And then you calculate lower fans, which is Q1 minus 1.5 IQR, get a number. And then the upper fans, which is Q3 plus 1.5 IQR. Any data that's lower than the lower fans and higher than the upper fans are outliers. They're either too high or too low. Now, this kind of calculation is tedious, so the online calculator should be able to do that automatically for us. So what we can do is, there is a plot called, not the regular box plot, but a plot called the modified box plot. Notice they modified it so that it shows the outliers as dots. Okay, it shows outliers as dots. So modified box plot. I think I have a description here. Yeah, a modified box plot is graph to show outliers without calculating IQR. So you don't have to calculate your lower fans and upper fans. They will just actually mark the outliers as markers. Okay, so you no longer see the maximum and minimum if the maximum and minimum are outliers. So this is not the maximum anymore. It's the last value after the outliers. So I can show you how to do it on this. So our sample data, this is still our exercise time, right? So earlier we have a box plot, but this is a regular box plot. It doesn't show outliers. So we would need to actually go back to, I wonder if I can force it to do modified box plot, but I don't think so. So I would do data and then box plot. See, when you actually do box plot, then they show you the modified box plot. My data is in 1, so you click 1, and then you click modified box plots. It would show the outliers as the dots. So you know that there is only 1, so it must be the highest number. So how do I know what it is? So you can go back to show your sample. So I don't know, this is 20, it's not my last number. It's the highest value. So you can sort them. So if you go data, sort data, not all column, right? Just one column, select 1, you sort it. So you will see that, oh, the highest is 300. Okay. So again, data, box plot, modify the box plot. Click your data and modify box plot. Not the box plot. Box plot just show you the 25%, division of data. Okay. So that's how you find outliers, and it is extremely useful, and you don't have to do the calculation. So two-way, if you don't have a graph, you do hand calculation and then find out. If you have statistics, you can modify the box plot to show outliers.